Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be taking you through the entire cadastral process, giving you an overview, its definition and purpose, its methodology, the legal framework, the importance of cadastral survey, and a quick wrap-up to what it entails. Now, for the next couple of weeks, I'll be taking you through the data capture, the data processing, and finally the outcome of a cadastral survey, that is a cadastral map or a certified plan. So we start by defining or giving a general overview of what a cadastral survey is. Cadastral surveying is a specialized field of land surveying focused on establishment, re-establishment, and delineation of property boundaries. This discipline plays a crucial role in defining land ownership and managing land resources, providing the legal framework necessary for property transaction and development. Now, someone will ask, what's the purpose of cadastral surveying is? So, I'll be giving you a few of those purposes. Cadastral surveying involves interpreting legal documents on physical measurements to determine the dimensions, areas, and boundaries of real properties. Some of the importance or purposes includes 1. Boundary demarcation. It involves establishing and verifying property lines based on historical records, legal description, and physical evidence on the ground, which is usually delineated or represented by boundary pillars. 2. It helps in land subdivision, what we normally call it in Ghana as demarcation. It helps in the facilitating the division of lands into parcels for ownership under the land title or the deed system. 3. It helps in legal documentation, what's popularly known as land registration. It helps in recording boundary information for use in plans, maps, and legal documents that reflects property rights, restrictions, and interests. Now, when we are done with the survey, we take it to the Lands Commission, which is a body in Ghana responsible for land registration. Goes to cadastral phase, then indenture, valuation, and then finally to your registration of your land title document. Now, the primary goal of cadastral survey is to ensure accurate representation of land ownership, which is essential for economic development and resource management. Now we come to the methodology. Cadastral surveying typically follows a systematic approach. 1 is the document review. The surveyor begins to gather relevant legal documents such as deeds, previous survey records, and municipal maps to understand the existing property boundaries. This can also include physically visiting the site and assessing the boundaries for documentation. So what we normally do here is to go with the land owner or the property owner to the site and then physically demarcate or delineate the boundaries, or the owner can show us the boundaries for subsequent surveys. Now 2, we go for our field surveying. This involves using specialized instruments. Example is a total station, and mostly down here we use a GPS survey instrument to physically locate the property corners and boundaries. This may involve marking points with monuments such as iron piece or concrete markers, or what we call the concrete pillars. So the surveyor has the responsibility, or the licensed surveyor has the responsibility of physically accessing the property and observing usually between 5 to 10 for the dual frequency GPSs and 10 to 20 for the single frequency GPS. He observes on each of the corners of the property for that period of time to be able to obtain documents to prepare a cadastral plan. The way that is data analysis. When the data is collected, it is imported into a third-party software. Like the softwares we can use include the Topcon tools or the Topcon Magnet, the Tramble Business Center, Leica Infinity, and a whole lot more. Collected data is analyzed to resolve any discrepancies or errors identified during the survey process. We take this data into the software process to finally be able to produce our cadastral or certified map. And then the final process is the map preparation. The final step that involves creating detailed cadastral or certified maps to illustrate property boundaries and associated rights. These maps are essential for legal documentation and land administration. For the purpose of cadastral surveying, there are two main types of plans that needs to be mentioned. One is a certified plan, and the second is the cadastral plan, with the advantage of a cadastral plan to be able to use for the legal documentation process. We head on to the legal framework. Cadastral surveys are governed by specific regulations that vary according to the various jurisdictions across the world. In Ghana, cadastral surveying is governed by the Survey Act 1962 as an act to consolidate with amendments to the laws relating to the geological, the soil and land surveys. In many regions, only land surveyors are authorized to conduct cadastral survey as official surveyor appointed by the Director of Survey to ensure compliance with legal standards and maintain the integrity of land records. Now here are a few importance of cadastral surveying. Cadastral surveying is vital for several reasons. One, for property rights protection. It provides a clear basis for property ownership, helping to prevent disputes between landowners. Urban planning. Accurate cadastral data support effective urban planning by allowing authorities to manage land use effectively. Because of the accurate nature of the cadastral or the certified field surveys, we are able to plan cities and towns very accurately. It also helps in economic development. A reliable cadastral enhances confidence in the property market, facilitating transaction and investment. When you're able to go through the cadastral process, it helps you to be able to legalize your document, go through the land commission system to be able to provide a land title land, which will help it to be free of any litigation and any encroachment. Now, with all this, I would want to say cadastral surveying is an essential discipline that integrates technical surveying skills with legal knowledge, to define property boundaries accurately. Its role in establishing land ownership rights is fundamental to effective land management and urban planning. As urban areas continue to grow and evolve, the importance of precise cadastral surveys will only increase, highlighting the need for skilled professionals in the field. Now, in the subsequent videos, I'll be taking you through how to capture static data or field work on the field. Go on ahead to process that data, and finally we produce a cadastral or certified map. So stick and stay with next tutorial for insightful cadastral surveying tips. See you in the next video.